Ever wonder why your latest release just doesn't hit like the records you love, even though you technically did everything right? Here's the hard truth: chasing the cheapest engineer might be the most expensive mistake you make as a band. Too many metal bands fall into the same trap. Budget's tight, so they go with the lowest quote. And hey, I get it. Touring costs money, gear ain't cheap, but the engineer you choose is literally shaping how the world hears you. And when you cheap out, your music suffers, and so does your wallet in the long run. Now imagine working with someone who gets your sound, someone who brings clarity, aggression, and weight to your mix, someone who elevates your song instead of just balancing faders. When you invest in the right engineer, you don't just get a better mix, you get more streams, better fan engagement, and even more gig opportunities. I've been engineering and producing metal bands for years. I've worked with DIY acts and label artists alike, and I've heard countless mixes sent to me for fixing after a band tried to go the budget route first. This isn't theory, this is reality. I've seen it, I've helped clean it up, and now I want to help you avoid the mess in the first place. A few years ago, a killer punk band hit me up. Let's call them Iron Wrath. They recorded and mixed an album with an engineer who charged them pennies. Seemed like a good deal at first, until they got the final mixes. Guitars were buried, drums sounded like cardboard, vocals were drowned in reverb, they were crushed. They came to me asking if I could rescue the mix. The problem? The original stems were a mess. Bad mic placement, phase issues, inconsistent tuning. I did what I could, but the damage was already done. They ended up retracking most of it, which cost them more than if they just hired a qualified engineer in the first place. Here's what Iron Wrath learned. The upfront savings weren't worth it. The time, money, and emotional energy they burned trying to fix a bad mix was way more painful than just investing in quality from day one. Your sound is your product. If it doesn't hit, no one cares how cool your riffs are. So today, I'm going to walk you through exactly why hiring the cheapest engineer you could find often ends up being the most expensive choice, and how you can make smarter decisions that protect your music and your wallet in the long run. So first up, why cheap engineers are often expensive. Look, there are engineers out there charging $50 a song. Hell, some will do for even less. And I get the temptation. You think, sweet, I'll get this whole album mix for the price of one drum mic. But here's the reality. Cheap usually means they're inexperienced. Maybe they just started. Maybe they haven't worked on metal at all. And now your music is their training ground. Or they're working with subpar gear in untreated rooms. That means what they hear isn't accurate. And they're mixing in headphones in their bed. Yeah, don't expect tight low end. Worst of all, they might have zero feel for metal. They don't know what punchy guitars should sound like. They don't understand aggressive drum tones. They're definitely not going to know how to get the vocals to cut through the wall of distortion. And guess what? You're still paying in time, frustration, and eventually more money when you need someone else to fix it. Next, the hidden costs of bad mixes. Let's say you go with the budget engineer. You get your first mix back, and it's rough. You ask for changes. They tweak one thing, but now something else sounds worse. You go back and forth week after week, and nothing's improving. Meanwhile, your bandmates are arguing over revisions, your release date keeps getting pushed back, you're losing momentum, motivation, and maybe even trust in each other. And worst of all, the final mix still isn't good. You release it anyway, just to be done with it. But your fans notice. It doesn't hit the way your demos did. Playlist curators skip it. Promoters pass. And instead of building hype, your release fades into the void. That's the hidden cost. The opportunity you missed by putting a weak product out there. Next, what a pro engineer actually brings to the table. Now let's flip the script. You hire someone who gets your genre. Someone who makes deathcore, black metal, doom, thrash. Who understands the difference between punch and sludge. Here's what that brings you. First, clarity in your mix, even when things are chaotic and heavy. Next, weight and punch where you need it, without losing dynamics. And finally, vocals that cut, drums that hit, guitars that crush, every time. A pro doesn't just hit normalize and export. They listen. They ask about your influences. They understand that you don't want your band to sound like every other band. They help shape your identity, not flatten it. That kind of mix doesn't just sound better, it performs better. More streams, more attention, more respect, period. Next, it's not about price, it's about value. This is key. Let's say a cheap mix costs you $200 a song, and it sounds eh. You release it, but fans don't engage, playlists don't pick it up, and it doesn't get you new opportunities. Now let's say a pro mix costs $800 a song, but it sounds amazing. It gets shared, playlisted, picked up by blogs, fans love it, you get better shows, labels start paying attention. Which one is actually cheaper? That $800 mix isn't just a cost, it's an investment. And the return on that investment is everything you've been chasing as a band. Cheap gets you cheap results. Value gets you career growth. Next is how to spot a quality engineer even on a budget. Now, I'm not saying that you need to drop 10 grand to get a solid mix. There are good engineers out there with reasonable rates, but you have to know how to find them. Here's what to look for. Portfolio in your genre. Don't just look at their website, listen to their work on Spotify. Can they actually handle heavy music? Testimonials and reviews. Ask around. Good engineers have happy clients who are proud of their work. Communication. A pro will ask questions, explain their process, and be upfront about timelines and expectations. And red flags? Super low rates, no genre examples, vague answers, those are signs to walk away. And finally, what if your budget is tight? Totally fair question. Not every band has 5K lying around. Here's how you can still win. Do fewer songs, but do them right. A killer 2-song EP sounds better and does more for your career than a full album that sounds like it was tracked in a garage. Invest in a single. Put your best track forward. Use it to build hype, get feedback, and show what you're capable of. Plan ahead. Don't rush a release just because you're impatient. Time is your friend when you're building something real. Ask about payment plans. A lot of pros are open to splitting payments or working with your schedule, if you're serious. Improve your mix prep. A clean, well-edited session saves the engineer time and saves you money. So what's the bottom line? Your mix is your product. It's the thing people hear first. It's what books you gigs, earns you fans, and grows your reputation. So if you're thinking short-term and going with the cheapest option, you're gambling with everything you've worked for. If you're thinking long-term, you invest in someone who gives your music the sound it deserves. If you've been burned by a cheap mix, or if you're about to book your first engineer, take a step back and think long-term. Reach out to engineers whose work you love. Ask questions. Get on a call. And if you want to talk about your project, hit me up. I'm always happy to chat and help steer you in the right direction. If this episode helped you rethink your recording strategy, share it with your bandmates or drop a review. Let's raise the bar together. Thanks for checking out this episode. If you found this valuable, please subscribe, rate, and leave me a review wherever you're listening. And as always, keep rocking, keep writing, and keep making metal that slays. Until next time, this is Dan, and I'll catch you on the next episode.